I would like to introduce you to Mount Fuji, a famous mountain representing Japan today. Mount Fuji is a popular tourist destination as well as a representative mountain in Japan. It is one of the most famous natural landscapes in Japan. Today, I would like to talk about the history, mountain climbing, and tourist spots of Mount Fuji. Enjoy! The altitude of Mount Fuji is 3,776 meters. It is a volcanic mountain range and an active volcano. It is also known for mountain climbing and skiing in winter. It is also known as one of the 3 famous mountains in Japan and one of the 8 views of Japan. Mount Fuji is also famous as a motif for anime and Japanese paper. It has also had a great influence on Japanese culture and art, and is often featured in Japanese literature and Japanese painting. There are many tourist spots in Mount Fuji. Here are some of them in bullet points. Fuji 5 Lakes, 5 lakes at the foot of Mount Fuji. A spot where you can enjoy nature, and the snow scenery is beautiful in winter. The 5 lakes are Red Lake, Blue Lake, Motosu Lake, Sai Lake, and Shojiko Lake. Hot springs at the base of Mount Fuji, a recommended spot after descending from Mount Fuji, where you can enjoy hot springs. You get tired after coming down the mountain, but you can refresh yourself in the hot springs. Mount Fuji National Park, a famous spot for viewing Mount Fuji. You can travel by train from the mountain climbing entrance and it is a famous spot for viewing Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji Tenmanku Shrine, a famous shrine located at the foot of Mount Fuji. It is said that the shrine was founded in 901 by the monk Kukai. It is a famous spot for viewing Mount Fuji and is also known as the Power Spot of Love. Mount Fuji Tenmanku Shrine has the Phoenix Hall and the Power Spot of Love. It is also famous as a spot for viewing Mount Fuji and is known as the shrine located at the highest place in Japan. Temple tour of Mount Fuji. There are many temples in Mount Fuji. One of the famous ones is the Mount Fuji Horyuji Temple. It is also famous as a spot for viewing Mount Fuji and you can climb to the top of the mountain. It is also popular as a spot where you can see snow scenery. There are many other attractions such as the Yukigawa Valley and onsen. Mountain climbing of Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji is also famous as a mountain climbing spot. There are various mountain climbing routes on Mount Fuji. When mountain climbing, it is recommended to always make a reservation at a mountain hut or use a mountain guide. Also, when coming down the mountain, be careful and come down the mountain safely. Mount Fuji Winter Ski Resort. There is a winter ski resort in Mount Fuji. There are places such as the Yukigawa Valley and onsen around Mount Fuji. When enjoying skiing, be sure to rent ski equipment or prepare safety equipment. Also, follow the rules of the ski resort and enjoy skiing safely. The mountain climbing season for Mount Fuji is from mid-July to late September. It is not possible to mountain climb at other times. The mountain climbing season for Mount Fuji changes every year, so it is recommended to check the mountain climbing season beforehand if you are mountain climbing. Also, suitable clothing is required for mountain climbing on Mount Fuji. When mountain climbing, be sure to check the weather and temperature and prepare suitable clothing. In addition, be sure to bring enough water and food when mountain climbing. Mount Fuji is a popular mountain to climb in Japan, and it is recommended to prepare the following clothing for the climb: upper body, long sleeve t-shirts, trail shirts, fleece, and windbreakers are good options. Lower body, light, breathable waterproof pants or hiking pants are recommended. Shoes, hiking shoes or boots are good options. It is important that they are waterproof. Hat, a hat with sunblock or a sun visor is recommended. Gloves or mittens to keep your hands warm are also recommended. In addition to these clothes, you will need to prepare a mountain hut or mountain guide, as well as necessary equipment such as maps, compasses, knives, lights, tents, sleeping bags, and hiking sticks for the Mount Fuji climb. It is important to prepare the necessary items for the climb, so it is important to plan your climb. When planning your climb, consider the following: schedule and purpose of the climb, to see the scenery, maintain health, avoid danger, number and age of people climbing, location and route of the climb, weather and temperature during the climb, equipment and luggage needed for the climb. When climbing, be sure to book a mountain hut or mountain guide and prepare the necessary equipment. Also, always be aware of your surroundings and potential dangers while climbing. There may be cliffs, rocks, or slippery roads that are dangerous during the climb. In addition, there may be poisonous snakes, insects, or altitude sickness that pose a risk on the mountain. Always be aware of your surroundings and avoid dangers while climbing, and pay attention to any mountain rules or guidelines. When climbing a mountain, it is recommended to prepare necessary equipment. Necessary equipment for mountain climbing includes a map, compass, knife, flashlight, tent, sleeping bag, and trekking poles. It is also important to keep hydrated and energized during mountain climbing. It is recommended to bring water and energy bars for hydration and energy replenishment. There are several ways to get from Haneda Airport to Mount Fuji. One way is to fly. Haneda Airport can fly to Mount Fuji via Haneda Airport, Narita Airport, and Atami Airport, and then take a car or bus to Mount Fuji. Another way is to take a bus from Tokyo. Buses from Tokyo to Mount Fuji depart from Tokyo Station and Shinjuku Station, and there are Ushi Bus and Fujitsu Bus. Then, take a car or bus to Mount Fuji. Another way is to take the train. The shortest route from Haneda Airport to Mount Fuji is to pass through Tokyo and then head to Mount Fuji from Tokyo. It takes about 30 minutes from Haneda Airport to Tokyo Station by Tokyo Metro Access Line. Then, trains from Tokyo Station to Mount Fuji include the Junior Tokaido Line and Junior Fuji Q Line, and the travel time to Mount Fuji is about 2 to 2.5 hours. Another way is to drive. The distance from Haneda Airport to Mount Fuji is about 100 kilometers and it takes about 2 hours by car. Finally, you can go by taxi. It takes about 2 to 3 hours from Haneda Airport to Mount Fuji by taxi and it costs about 40,000 to 50,000 yen. When traveling to Mount Fuji by car, be sure to consider the road conditions, weather, and traffic, and plan your actions accordingly. Also, make sure the driver of the car gets enough rest when traveling to Mount Fuji by car. Have a good trip to Mount Fuji.